Hi guys, welcome to Millennial Movie Fan Channel. My name's Tyler. Today's review is going to be for A Quiet Place. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you give me a thumbs up down below, hit subscribe, and the little notification bell. That way you get alerts when I post a new video. It's been a little few and far between lately, but I'm trying to get back on a set schedule. I'm going to put out a video announcing what my release schedule is going to be. There's going to be some changes, so look out for that. If you have the notification bell, you'll definitely see it in your sub box, because sometimes that isn't the case. This movie, A Quiet Place 2, is the long-awaited sequel to the original first movie, and especially around my area, and for me personally, this was a really anticipated movie because the release got pushed back a lot, but it was also shot in Buffalo in certain scenes, certain parts, and certain locations around here that are Buffalo mainstays. And if you're from Buffalo, you recognize the Grand Island Bridge that they're on when they're looking for the boat, and you recognize Akron and the street with the storefronts in the beginning flashback. So it was really cool to see that and to go to the drive-in like I did and see people that had signs that were like, my car is in the movie, or I'm in the movie, or you could see me here. That was really awesome. It was a whole different experience knowing that the movie was shot in Buffalo, to watch it and to see it with people in the theater finally, because there were a lot of movies that we had to see at home, and this movie they wanted to wait until it came out in the theater, and I think that was a good choice because this is one of the best movies I've seen in like a year and a half. It's definitely a great addition to the A Quiet Place series, and a great follow-up, a worthy follow-up to the first one, which was groundbreaking and did a lot of really cool things and kind of became an instant classic. So we get to see day one of the alien apocalypse in this one, which was great. It was great to have John Krasinski back. Knowing what happened to his character in the first one, they had to, do it in a flashback. But we get introduced to Cillian Murphy's character as well, and he's great in everything he's in, Cillian Murphy, but this character in particular had excellent backstory and character arc that progressed throughout the story, so it didn't feel like he was just forced in because they needed something else other than the mom and the kids, even though that movie would have been great too. His addition to what the story was excellent. Then this movie goes back to the present day, and it takes place right after the first movie ended, like immediately after. And the film expands the lore of the aliens and what we learned about them and how they tick and how to combat them. I thought was really cool, and it definitely expanded what we got from the first one and made it even more interesting. The returning cast, Emily Blunt and the two kids, were phenomenal. They made me tear up a few times, all three of them. They had to do, obviously, a lot of acting without speaking or verbalizing what they're saying, and it relied on their facial reactions, and the little kids even were excellent. Emily Blunt had a scene with Cillian Murphy where she's like, go save my daughter, and that one made you tear up a little bit. And then the two little kids, when they're talking about their dad and how the daughter wants to go off on her own and figure out, what's going on. I don't want to spoil the story too much. Those were great scenes, and I think the whole cast up and down the board is deserving of acting nominations. Jaimon Hansu's part was okay. He just had a really minor role, and he got some good lines in there and delivered them really well for what he had to do. So, take that into consideration. He kind of wasn't a main character of the story. The CGI of the aliens was awesome. They're coming at you in this and, doing crazy things. And the CGI really was on par with the first one, maybe even better. And, on par with a lot of the movies that we see nowadays that are CGI special effects heavy. And I think that, it never stood out or was like uncanny. So I really enjoyed that, and the score as well was probably one of the most underrated parts of this movie and the first movie, but the music was always great in the A Quiet Place series. So, this one is no different and might get nominated for that too, I believe. The story flows really well, and I really was impressed by that, but I think the most impressive thing about this movie to me is the editing. There's a sequence on the dock where Cillian Murphy is kind of like walking down with a gun, and he turns, and as he's turning, it cuts to Emily Blunt opening a door in the same direction. So your eyes are following the gun on the screen, and then it cuts to the door like perfectly. and that's a trick, and you've seen that in other movies, I'm sure. I mean, if you're looking for it, if you know to look for it, it's just something, it's like a little detail that I'm like, that was really cool, and I'm going to steal that one day. But yeah, that was a great like transition, and they did it again with like a light. There was a light on like a tarp or something hanging down in one scene where they're interacting with the sun, and then it cuts to Cillian Murphy and the daughter on the dock, and it goes up to like a light, and the light was exactly where the light on the tarp was on the dock, so it cut to that scene like fading out of the light, and it was just real well done, and all of that is within the same scene. So I was super impressed with the editing, that and the acting. It was just a phenomenal movie. Let me know what you guys thought of A Quiet Place 2. I really enjoyed it. I really think that a third one would be pretty cool. I just don't know where they would go with it, considering what we learned about the aliens, about what's going on, and how the family handled that. It feels like, I don't know really what they could do now. It seems like they're just going to kind of go off, and it could end on this one. But this movie did end kind of abruptly, and there was no really like falling action because it's not resolved. I don't want to give too much away, but I don't know. A third one I think would be really cool, especially if they shot in Buffalo, because I know that they had a good time and really enjoyed shooting in Buffalo with the locations and the people that they had working on the film from Buffalo. So I hope that they come back. Maybe it's a movie I could work on one day. So selfishly, I'm like, I hope they come back. Let me know what you guys thought of the second installment, and give me a thumbs up, like I said in the beginning, and hit subscribe, and share this video around to all your friends and family on Facebook, Twitter, all the different social media outlets. That really helps out the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.